It is unbelievable what is being said about the Cleveland Cavaliers right now as they move to 13-0 on the season, and it is Kendrick Perkins of ESPN. He's the one that said something that I just can't believe, which we will go over. We will also talk about what's up with Max Strus as the Cavaliers move through the season. Strus still not healthy enough to play. Want to talk about his role, what's going on with him, and do the Cavaliers even need him? We will jump into that. And of course, what Kendrick Perkins says that has me surprised. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cavs Digest. Billy BB with you on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We are really close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're just finding the channel or if you watched a few videos, we're going to ask you to subscribe. On this one, drop down into the comments. Sound off on Kendrick Perkins. Sound off on Max Strus. Let us know what you think, but the best thing to do to kind of get that going is subscribe. So, Cavaliers continuing to play good basketball. No complaints here. As we kind of said, they are 13-0, playing great, looking great. Kendrick Perkins, the last time we heard from him, the last time we talked about him, he said Donovan Mitchell, he didn't know if he was a 1A All-Star, a really great superstar in the NBA. So it was surprising, almost unbelievable to me now that when we're going to talk about Kendrick Perkins today, he had something positive to say about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's watch that video as he was on First Take and then react.
So, Perk, how likely do you think it is for your former team, the Celtics and Cavs, to face off in the Eastern Conference Finals?
It's very likely, Molly. This team is the real deal. They check all boxes. If you want bigs, they have that in Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. And the great thing about that is we always wondered last year, could they coexist? And the answer right now is hell yeah, because Evan Mobley been in the lab. He's shooting 50% from the three right now, which is a huge plus because now you could keep both of those guys on the floor. Another level of concern that we had for the Cavs last season, could Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland coexist? And the answer is hell yeah, they can. Now we're watching Donovan Mitchell become more of a leader. He wasn't bought in last season because him and Bickerstaff didn't see eye to eye. Now all of a sudden you have Kenny Atkinson who has completely unlocked this Cavs group. And look, they get Max Strus back. You got Karis LeVert coming in off the bench. You have a veteran leader. Let me remind y'all how important veteran leaders are, because a lot of these guys, a lot of these teams don't want to go pay the 2.4, 2.5 million to have a vet sitting on the bench so they could be an extension of the coach, and Tristan Thompson, who's going to hold the locker room together. So when I look at this Cavs and I look at how the Knicks are looking right now, especially with the depleted roster, with the injuries of missing Mitchell Robinson, Cam Payne, and Precious Achiuwa, and how horrible the Bucks look, they're trying to trade people right now. They're making phone calls. They know they ain't destined for nothing. Yes, the Cavs right now are the biggest threat in my eyes to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference.
Well, there you have it. Kendrick Perkins finally with something positive to say about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think his analysis was overly great. Anything we didn't see or have heard about the Cavaliers. The duo's working. The coaching has improved. They're playing great in the East. They got some big wins. I think we've heard all that from him before. But he has just not given much love to the Cavaliers. So for him to kind of step up and say, yeah, I think the Cavs and Celtics are going to eventually meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, much appreciated there. Not overly shocking right now. Last year, obviously, that was a 3-1 series. Cavs were all over the place in that one. They really only won that road game. Time to start getting some love. It's time to be taken seriously, and I think there are more and more things going to be said about the Cavaliers over the year that should gain them more respect. There's a video out right now, Draymond Green, they're passing that thing, they're moving that thing, it's unbelievable. Pat Bedpot, I would play that clip for you too another time. He said the way the Cavaliers can get their respect, keep that record up, just keep winning. That's the best way to get, and I believe it. I said the Cavaliers should win in the upper 50s. That's what they should be going for, not only to prove to the league, but I think it's important to prove to yourselves that you are an upper-level team, a team that can hang with Boston, so that, number one, if you get a great record, you're going to have home court advantage. So when you open up that series, this is our series. We didn't win a home game against this team last year, but we're all set and ready to do that this year. Now, look, I don't think it's a big shock to say for Perkins to say they'll meet. These two teams will meet. That seems inevitable right now, especially with the East is garbage, absolute garbage right now. Barely 500 under those two teams. But, you know, the way he hyped them up and talked about them, and equal to the Celtics at this point. I think a great record could do that, and I think playing well against the Celtics in the regular season can do that. They've done that in the past and then not showed up against them. But a little love from Perk, a great thing, because I know we've talked about Kendrick Perkins a lot on this channel, and usually it's not positive towards the Cleveland Cavaliers. So no problem there. Good to see it. Glad to see it. Now, other thing I want to discuss today is Max Strus. Cavaliers are winning, and they're winning plenty without him. He was set to be the starting small forward. He was one of the guys they invested in last year's free agency class. He ends up getting an ankle injury to begin the season. I immediately just jumped to who would take his place. This didn't necessarily feel like a giant loss for the Cavaliers, and they immediately showed it is not a giant loss for the Cavaliers. So they need to assess a couple things here. Number one, when is he coming back? I think that's kind of the big one. That's what everybody's wondering. And look, this is a 2-month injury. That's what it's been from the get-go, a 2-month injury. They said 6 weeks. Again, in the NBA, I always overestimate. So on November 8th, a few weeks left. I think it's been a month. I think he's still got a month. That's my prediction on the Strus injury. The bigger question is, at this point in time, do the Cavaliers need him? That's the second question. Okay? When's he going to come back? A month. Do the Cavaliers need him? Clearly not. Clearly not. Okay? And the other thing is, well, they got a lot of depth. Well, they do, but they're also staggering minutes with the guys they already have. And Strus is just a good shooter and a guy with an attitude. I know they've got Sam Merrill, and I think Jalen Tyson could be a guy with an attitude. So I honestly feel like that spot filled, which leads you to the third question. What do you do with him? Look, try and phase him back into the lineup. And Kenny Atkinson has been very blunt about, if you are not showing results, if you are not benefiting to what we're doing, and if you are not doing good things, you're out. Your minutes are going to decline. Maybe you'll even be out of the lineup, starting lineup, rotation altogether. So you at least got to give Strus a shot. At least got to give him a shot. Should have about a month left till he's back, but you give Strus that shot and then see where you go from there. I think that's a very tradable contract. And after what I saw last year, again, I'm not a Strus fan. I think they paid a guy that was unplayable in the NBA Finals 2 years ago, and he hasn't been anything great for them so far. I'd love to flip him for a big man. But drop down in the comments. Are we happy to see some good things from Kendrick Perkins? Right? Come on. We got to keep our eye on Perk, though. I know he's a bit of a hater on the Cavaliers, and he loves the Celtics. So we'll keep an eye on that. Max Strus. What do the Cavaliers do with Max Strus? Is that a trade piece? Is that a wait and see? Is that a let him get his feet back? Let him be a part of this? Can the Cavaliers get better when Max Strus arrives? Or do they just need to do what I talked about, phase him in and see where you're at? More to come when you subscribe to Cavs Digest. We're getting to 1,000, baby. Stick with us.